have a vocal here. I'm going to go ahead and select vocal. I'll just go ahead and play this vocal now so that we can hear it and know what we're talking about before I get into the rest of it.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign. Unfit to resist, talking me outside my mind.
What I'm going to do here is I want to capture some of that sibilance in the transient. That's going to show up in the transient side, and just kind of get all that mouth noise and stuff going in the transient channel. So, like I said, the splitting process is complementary. So in order to hear what's going on, we have to solo transient or solo tonal. Otherwise, if we move these parameters down here, we won't hear anything because it's it fully sums back together, right? So I'll go ahead and select vocal. I'm going to solo transient. I can do that either up here or for convenience, you can do it down here in this bar. And yeah, I'm going to play with separation, decay, and smoothing. So just a quick, what are these, I guess, is separation. We have tooltips throughout the plugin that explain this, but essentially this is isolating transients across the spectrum. So at higher levels, basically the transient regions are going to be smaller and have sharper boundaries. So the transients are going to be more distinct and filtered more sharply from tonal elements. And then smoothing, when we do this process, we're kind of like breaking the laws of physics in a way. So there's going to be artifacts that you hear. So if you're processing transient and tonal really differently in your EQ curves, you might want to turn smoothing up to sort of remove some artifacts. Decay is kind of an extension of smoothing where we're basically kind of limiting how fast a piece of transient material can go to be tonal. So this is kind of just sort of like artifact taming, right? There are definitely artifacts that you'll hear when I have transient or tonal soloed. But like I said, once we listen to the full signal again, those will go away or be at a level where you can't really hear anything because the signals are being put back together. So, all right, let's go ahead and tune this now. I've talked enough for the moment.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign. Unfit to resist, talking me outside my mind.
So you can hear I kind of got the mouth noise, like sibilance, the plosives kind of filtered into that transient channel. And then what that leaves in the tonal channel is sort of something devoid of that, right?
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign.
All right, so now what I can do is actually target that sibilance in the transient channel, right? So what I can do is grab a band here, and I can solo the band actually to hear what I'm targeting. So I know I'm going to want to target the transient, so I can separate those now. And then by doing a command option click, I can solo just the transient for that band. I could also do this down here in this band editor. I could switch between soloing transient or both or tonal. So yeah, let's go ahead and find those areas of sibilance and plosives.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign. Unfit to resist, talking me outside.
Cool. So kind of narrowed in on some of that sibilance there. Do one more band here.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign.
One other thing that I want to just point out is when you're doing these split curves in SplitEQ, you'll probably find in general that you need to like cut or boost a lot more than you would in a standard EQ, which I know is obviously like if you're doing these huge cuts or boosts, usually as an engineer, you're like, this is wrong. Like I shouldn't need to do these insane cuts or whatnot. But since the signal's being split in half, right, before, I mean, not even half, it's like anywhere from 100% transient to 0% transient, right? But since you're not getting the full sonic energy through the plugin, all you're going to end up with, just less sonic energy in transient or tonal. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to it now that I've cut the the sibilance and mouth noise out a bit.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign. Unfit to resist, talking me outside my mind.
All right, so tame that down a bit. Probably want to go up slightly on that. We could also remove some mud, which will show up in the tonal portion of the track.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign.
One other thing I want to point out, just as a cool kind of, you can actually use it to help you, but it's just kind of a cool observation, is that in the spectrum analyzer, we have a spectrum. We can see the transient and the tonal spectrum. You can also switch those to be pre or post, or just show transient or tonal, or the full signal. But what's kind of interesting is you can see like more of a full spectrum transient signal, and then like on a vocal or pitched instruments, you'll see like the partials and harmonics in the tonal channel. So if you just watch the vocal here,
minds thinking alike are not always a sign.
you'll see like that transient decay, and then like the tonal bits still have those partials. So that can be helpful for like isolating specific areas there.
So can I ask you a question, Tom? What is the benefit over de-essing this way as opposed to the traditional way?
Yeah. So the benefit this way is that, I mean, even with de-essing, right, you're basically compressing, like you're adding a compressor to the entire signal at whatever frequency it's being triggered at, right? So you're not just like you're ducking sibilance, but you're also ducking whatever other frequency content is there along with it throughout, right? So the separation is just a more transparent way of doing it. I mean, you can certainly get similar results with a de-esser, but we find the benefits here are it's more transparent, and it's also faster. You know, you're not playing around with like attack time and release time and whatever else you need to do. It's just kind of like, all right, couple curves done. And so, yeah, I mean, overall, SplitEQ, a lot of what it does, you could achieve with other techniques, but yeah, we just think the workflow is just simpler. We think with SplitEQ, it's kind of more directly targeting what you want to do. So, I mean, another cool benefit of this is I can like boost back, you know, if I want to get some air back on the vocals, right, I can do a tonal shelf at the same frequency, and it won't be bringing back sibilance, right? So if I just show this here.
Minds thinking alike are not always a sign. Unfit to resist, talking me outside my mind.
So you can add back some air and sheen onto that vocal without bringing up like, you know, kind of harsh transient or mouth noises.